Sean, how would you feel about doing your presentation during the workshop?
That's fine.
Floor is yours.
Nothing like starting it this way to reassure the board. So I gave blood today and didn't eat much, so coherent thought isn't my forte right now.
Uh-huh.
And in my defense, there was a portion of time in which the administrators agreed Sean stopped bringing slideshows. And then Sean did, and then said the administrators brought slideshows. So I didn't bring anything today. We could even play 21 questions. But at the end of a school year, so just a little bit of history, I feel like I've been here now kind of forever. Been through multiple superintendents, multiple schools, I think the only school I didn't probably ever help with, even subbing, was the school that I lived closest to at Southwest. Building at Forest Lake when somebody was out on maternity leave, was at Murphy, was at Cohasset. The reason I bring that up is it's interesting to reflect on the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, we've gone through a pandemic, we've gone through building new schools, we've gone through shifting schools, we've gone through budget cuts. And in some respects, instructionally, we're in a better place than we've ever been. I didn't say easy. Like, I didn't say what we're doing now is easy by any means, so I'm not Pollyanna. Like, it's hard right now. I think one of the things that's probably the most fresh in my mind is going through MCA scores from this year, just the preliminary. It was a regular meeting. We do goal reflection, but I started it with, we didn't meet our goals. We didn't. I mean, it was the easiest meeting to start, and it was one of the shortest as far as we didn't meet the goals that we set. If you use your MCs as a rubric. And as I talked with our staff, I said, we don't get to take all the credit when things are going well, but we also don't get to take all the blame. Like, this is a really big picture item. So go through MCAs, and there are pockets, there is growth, there's pockets. I mean, you start to see even how educators are looking at it and using the data. But what will be very interesting next year when the final scores come out would be to look at your local level assessments instead, or alongside of. Because I can tell you, when I looked at the preliminary scores, like, did not feel good. And I can give you all the rationale, I can give you all the reasons, but I do want you to keep in mind that our MCAs, that's a one snapshot in time, that's a one-day test. Like, there's a lot of one-offs, like it's a one, it's a one, it's a one. I don't get to write it off because it's a system that we work in. At the same time, we have all the data to compare in front of us. We have local level assessments the kids take at least fall, winter, and spring that we can show you the growth. I don't think, I know that we're gonna wanna look at our local level scores compared to it. Because I sat down and started going through our grade levels, and I went from feeling pretty down about the year to like, this is something powerful. I mean, we had one of our, I won't get too specific because I don't think it's fair without having a full showing. I mean, looking at one classroom with 92% of their kids leaving proficient, their overall reading comprehension and reading scores. Looking at where kids are, it was amazing to sit back and go, we say that we balance our class sizes, we say that we strive for balanced classes at the start of the year, and to be able to look at, say, second or third grade and go, this is where they came in the fall. This is where they were in the winter, this is where they are in the spring. To look at like our second grade level, just blew it out of the water. 10, 15, 20% growth over the course of a year. Our goal was 6%. I mean, we have people and we have pockets and we have groups and we have teams that are just killing it. And to use the word killing it, what's killing us sometimes is how we see that presented on a larger stage. So next year, I would encourage, I mean, it wouldn't take a ton of work on the principal's part in the sense that we've already gathered a lot of that information and we've shared it with our teams. But you should be extremely proud of your teams. You should be extremely proud of your school districts. Excuse me. In the midst of all these cuts, in the midst of all these layoffs, cuts, and all this pulling back, to see the growth that we're seeing, it's really exciting. So we finish up this school year. We started the year knowing that cuts were coming. We started the year as a K-5 building. We ended the year as a K-2 building. As you can imagine, packing has been going on like crazy. Thank you to the community and the board for giving us that extra time. It's not enough. And it's okay for me to say that. It's okay for me to say, thank you for the extra time. It's okay for me to say, it's not enough. And that's not a complaint, it's an observation of, if I'm a parent thinking, you know, half my kids had to go to school that day, one got to stay home. But to think that that was enough time for staff, they need more. They really did crush it. I mean, we have a handful of rooms that are ready to go and they're packed. The West Servery, about half of it is full of boxes. We pulled all of the pallets that were palletized down to the servery. So there's quite a few there. I feel like I live in this Venn diagram right now where I can have these two opposing thoughts of, this is really hard. I'm really excited. This is really stressful. I'm really excited. To say that it's stressful in the schools right now, and it's not just our school, it's not just our district, it's probably every single district in the state without an operating referendum, and probably some of those that do. It's extremely stressful. At the same time, it's been interesting to reflect on the change over the last handful of years. There was a lot of concern when we moved to the big schools. These schools are going to be too big. What are the kids going to do? To get to the point where we didn't hear that complaint anymore, and most people forgot it. Because then the complaint was, oh, we're going to grade level buildings. And I feel as if we moved through that mentally really quickly. And I'm not saying it's because I don't hear complaints, I do, and people are concerned. But the concern part, I think what's helping it is we've done it. We've opened new buildings. We figured out the traffic pattern. We figured out how to keep the kids safe. We figured out how to provide interventions. We figured out how to do instruction with the new setup. It's a stressful yet exciting time. Over the course of the summer, we'll have a considerable amount of training for literacy, specifically for, I'll just talk about my building, I don't worry about everybody else. K2, all sorts of training. We have staff that have opted to come in the summer so that they can have, a work day that first week of school, while some have opted to have training on the work day. We have, it's really hard right now to keep everything in mind. We've got class placements are getting set up. We have teachers that are packing up and wrapping up. We have staff that are getting ready for trainings. We have staff that are already doing training. I keep cycling back to a line, like 98% excited for next year, 2% scared, or maybe it's 2% excited and 98% scared, but that's what makes it so intense. There is quite a bit of good coming. I think it's a really good time for summer break to hit, for staff to really gear up for next year. You'll have staff out of the building for about a month. K2 at least, and 3-5, kind of forced to stay out so they can get everything moved. But my bet is you're going to see people in the buildings all the way up until the last day they can be in, and you're going to see people in immediately the first day they can get back in. We should play 21 questions. There's a lot going on in your schools right now. Thank you for trusting me to open up the K2 building with 80% of our kids. Somebody thought that was a great idea. It's not lost on me. 80% of our kids are going to come through West, and that's exciting. I know you're going to see improvements because we can streamline this. Even as an administrator, I'm not stretching myself thin across 6th grade bands K-5. I'm K-2, and I can go deeper now. And for parents or families that are concerned or worried, there are much larger schools in the state, and there are many other schools in the state doing the same thing, whether it's a K building or a K2 building. This is nothing new. And as far as what we see for substitutes and absences and trying to work with and train our staff, sorry, I hope nobody's missed this. We have a sub shortage, and that's a really polite way of saying that it's a crisis. It is. We don't have the people. We can't do training during the day anymore. There's no way to pull people out. So to have people that are willing to come in over the summer and to offer training the way that we do, it's exciting, but it's nerve-wracking at the same time. I'll give you some uncomfortable wait time and see if you have any questions for me.
Well, Sean, I'll ask. So when you're talking about the MCA scores, is it that you didn't meet your overall goal of 6%, but there's pockets that went over and above? Is that what you're talking about?
We set as a site to have 6% growth across the board in both math, literacy. Science is only the 5th grade. Science we actually did really well, but the catch is you're going to see this across the state. They're not seeing the growth, and it's not for the lack of effort. This year there was a concerted effort. I mean, it was, when you hear that we took it seriously, the flip side could be some didn't take it seriously prior. We had kickoff events, we had staff going through, making sure, blame this on the blood draw today, making sure that everybody was using the same language, that everybody, you know, this is, that we're taking it serious, we're gonna do the best that we can. It's always, I always enjoy, because I like to think deeply on some of these things, I always enjoy when we say to families, you know, big test is coming up, make sure you get a lot of rest, you eat well, you drink a lot of water. It's like, what are we doing the other 170 days of the year? Staying up late, eating candy and popping bonbons? Like, but we did, there was a very concerted effort, there was a push. I think the politest way I can put it is, I've been at this a while now, like I'm the old guy, I didn't think I'd ever be the old guy. I just don't feel those assessments are really meant to see how well the kids are doing. Like when we talk about Fast Bridge and Edge Climber and STAR, and we look at the assessments that our teachers respond to daily, weekly, monthly, you know, fall, winter, spring, those really are assessments that are meant to guide the instruction and change it. We're not allowed to look at the questions. I mean, we're not allowed to look at the questions. I mean, if you have to help a kid, you have to kind of do this. You got to walk them through it because you're not allowed to. But it's not lost on me that the things that the kids share, like, it's like that old train adage. Train A leaves the station B, they're going at 90 miles an hour, how many passengers are on? It's like, what are we asking? So it definitely is, it's hard to see how those are used when you could come in any week, any day, week, month of the school year and say, how is this child doing? And I'd say, well, let's take a look at their profile. Let's look at their assessments. Let's see how they're doing. Let's look at their interventions. But what we often see portrayed is that once a year, it's autopsy data. It's something that's built off the end of the year that's not designed for us to respond to. We're even told you can't compare cohort to cohort year after year. You can't compare third to fourth grade. I'm not a statistician. I would be willing to wager a bet that even if I was, I'd have a real hard time gleaning information from those assessments. So like I said, I mean, I believe I've earned the right to say, I can understand how important these are and I can understand that we need to take them. I can also look at a parent and say, if you really want to know how your kid's doing, this is what we should look at because this isn't going to help you. So, and that's through credit of the district. I can't speak for other districts. I know that here there's a whole system put into place that we respond. And that wasn't here 5, 10, 15 years ago. I was, so I have the right to say things are going better. I've been here when they weren't. We thought we were doing what was best. We now know we weren't, and we have the right to improve. I have the right to take in new information and change what I'm doing. So I don't want to get too far off on MCAs, but it's definitely frustrating in the trenches. Because if the state wants to know how we're doing, we could tell you fall, winter, and spring, not just spring.
We set, I mean, 6% is a very aggressive goal in MCA. I mean, it's more than the state would recommend and say you should even set, but we were just like, let's set it out there and just lean hard on it. And
well, I'm curious how has, like, going through the years since COVID, like, has it been some kind of track upwards? Has it been kind of plateaued?
Well, even, so for example, we could look at our STAR, we could look at our STAR reading and math, and we could predict how the kids are going to be. And typically the predictions are on. This year, I mean, they were okay, but there were pockets that didn't do as well as predicted. And I really don't believe there's anybody that's that smart to be able to say, this is the exact pinpoint reason why that child didn't meet where they were projected to do. I think you could sit back and go, and that's what a teacher can do. What was going on in their life at the time? And it sounds like you're making excuses. That's the reality. A child's not just a number. What was going on at that time? What was going on the years prior? I mean, I look at a few kids that we had come through that, and they're not alone. COVID was terrible for attendance. I meaning there's a handful still struggling with school is optional, like I can kind of come when I want and there aren't any ramifications. How truancy works right now, there really isn't a lot of teeth to it, but at the same time, I guarantee you there's a direct correlation between how a child does in school and life and how they do in attendance. So we're seeing a rebound coming out of COVID for quite a few things, even sports right now. Let's pick on soccer because I always do. Like there's this, you can see the rebound of kids being involved. You can see the rebound of people coming out to ref and help coach again. You can see the rebound just in general. Like yes, we're seeing struggles with some kids with truancy and attendance, but you also see everybody taking it more serious again. Like COVID's over. Like let's move forward now. So.
I'm glad Sean hit on attendance because it is something, it's sort of a heartbeat of what I'm hearing in a lot of places. Internally, the number of students that we have that have missed a great deal of school is higher than we've seen historically across the state. It's like that, and there was some money. One of the few things they actually did during the session was to fund a pilot for some metro schools, thanks a lot, but focused on attendance. And so I think there's some awareness that attendance is down. And to Sean's point about the barriers to attendance, sometimes it's about life getting in the way, sometimes it's about priorities. What we do know is that at the end of the day, where there used to be some, I don't know, I guess, accountability at the kind of county level, it's been much more difficult just because of the county's capacity. So, attendance in Minnesota is compulsory. It's mandatory that kids go to school. It's not an option. And it's generally not now the attendance issues that we're seeing where kids are out of school and it's a mystery. The number of excused absences that we have in school now is what's kind of astounding.
The part that makes it really hard, there's a lot that makes different pieces hard. When you talk about attendance, for example, let's just say one of my kids. If I never call them in and they miss 10 or 11, I think 11, to file educational neglect, if I don't call, well, there you go. But if my kid is missing for the most ridiculous reasons and I call and they're excused, it's not a neglect. So the hard part is you look at the kids that, it's not lost on me that we have there's a small group, but hundreds of days missed. Especially by the time they graduate, when attendance has been poor year after year, to miss 200 to 300 days of school, and to think that there's not some type of impact there, that's frustrating. I know I do appreciate that idea that so many more of the kids will come through one building, one setting, because it's one thing that I know we do a good job of at West. Not that other schools don't, but I'm here for West. Like we start on time, and I had an Iron Range hockey coach, Pat Forty, he used to say, if I wanted the meeting at 3:05, I would have told you 3:05. So when I talk to families, it's out of the most respectful way I can put it. If it's 8:25 that we start, it's 8:25. It's not rolling at 8:26. It's not rolling at 8:23 and get there on time. It's because these patterns are set young. Attendance, learning, behavior, like it's set where it's not lost on me how important these buildings are. Nothing against the others, but K2, like we set the stage for what's coming. So it has changed a lot. I mean, Mark, you were here longer than I was, but I can even look back to when I started, all the things that we have in place now that we didn't back then. I mean, right now, these facilities that we recently built, we have pantries, meaning food, clothing, washer, dryer, showers in some cases. We have space for interventionists, no longer under stairs. We have North Homes. We have mental health providers in the buildings. We have counselors. We have social workers. I'm not that old, but that's how much it's changed even in the time that I've been in Grand Rapids. I mean, the only constant is change, and it's been really good. I didn't say it was easy. I don't know where the camera is. Like, I'm not trying to be foolish and say that what we're doing is easy, But at the same time, if you look at what we offer for our kids now, so much more than we used to, so.
Any other comments or questions? David? No.
Thank you, Sean, for your service over the years. Great work, much appreciated.
Let my colleagues know, no slideshow was given. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
I think at this time, we're going to adjourn the workshop and we'll come back into session at 6:30 for the regular meeting.
Okay.
Say, Sean,
Yeah.
remember when you were acting superintendent?
Meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Moved by Mindy, support, second by Ben. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the May 20th, 24th regular school board meeting. Looking
So
for a
moved,
motion.
David.
Moved by David. Second by Ben. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Casey,
Good evening, board. Tonight we have Lori Carlson, interventionist teacher replacement transfer hire. Joshua Helmbrecht, teacher replacement transfer hire. Dexy Maxa, Big Fork physical education teacher replacement transfer hire. Joseph Rabers, special education teacher replacement hire. Jessica Taylor, facilities technician resignation. And Sherry Trombley, special education teacher replacement hire. Recommending approval of the consent agenda.
reminder, there's no discussion. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Melissa,
Second.
second by Mindy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve discontinuing reimbursement of medical premium contributions for those under 65 on Medicare. Casey.
You have a recommendation before you that was also supported by the Fringe Benefit Committee. So a little history, back in 1995, the Fringe Benefit Committee implemented a practice where they started requiring those that were on Medicare due to disability, those that were on disability to be required to be on Medicare Part A and B. So Medicare started paying primary, the district plan paid secondary. And because of that, there was some added costs for those individuals having to pay for Part B along with the premiums. So the district started paying the difference in that. The recommendation came from our consultant, One Digital, a number of months ago. It was first brought to the committee that this isn't the best practice or what other individuals are doing because of the Medicare secondary payer rules. So before you is a recommendation to stop this practice effective on July 1. And the recommendation would include discontinuing reimbursement of the medical premium contributions for those under 65 and on Medicare, moving forward starting on July 1.
Looking for a motion to approve discontinuing the reimbursement.
So moved.
Moved by Mindy, second by David. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the annual superintendent's evaluation summary. I'm going to read the summary, and then we'll be looking for a motion. Presented June 3rd, 2024 during a regular meeting in accordance with Minnesota statute, the ISD 318 school board is making the formal report on Superintendent Matt Gross's performance. On May 20th, 2024, the ISD 318 school board met with Superintendent Matt Gross during a closed session subject to Minnesota statute 13D.08 subdivision 3A to review the results of the 23-24 superintendent evaluation completed by all 6 school board members. The evaluation was conducted in 2 areas: essential accountabilities of the position and the unique goals set by the superintendent. The following essential accountabilities were rated individually: administrative, instructional, financial, operational, research and development, staff, public and community relations, human resources, and evaluation of district staff. Superintendent Gross has been committed to a long-range district strategic plan, balancing the budget and ensuring long-term financial stability for the district. Although we failed to pass an operating levy, Matt's leadership has been instrumental in the implementation of several steps that will work in the long term to stabilize the district's financial situation. These include, but are not limited to, adjustments in our healthcare plan, restructuring our building and staffing profiles, and collaborative efforts with neighboring districts. He's encouraged staff to participate in the process. This has provided frequent opportunities for staff leadership and feedback. The board sees that the systems are being put in place that support the staff and students in the district. The board is also very happy with the regular financial updates throughout the year and is pleased with the systematic approach he's using to educate the community with regard to the district's financial challenges. The board has been fully informed and communicated regularly about Matt's unique superintendent goals. Superintendent goals are about development, alignment, and transparency in the areas of long-term planning, teaching and learning, financial stability, district culture, and staff development. Matt has worked with principals and teachers to develop a teaching and learning model that decreases the variability in classroom practices and continues to increase evidence of learning. It should be noted that strong achievement advances continue to be made in math and reading. They're directly related to Matt's vision, leadership, and the implementation of the teaching and learning model. Respectfully submitted, Mark Schroeder, School Board Chair. Looking for a motion to approve the report.
So moved.
Moved by Ben,
Second, David.
second by David. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The evaluation's approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve a resolution for membership in the Minnesota State High School League. Superintendent Gross?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Every year, the school board is required to authorize membership in the high school league. And there are a number of requirements there that you can see in that, and stipulations there that are included in that report. One of the requirements is that the board watches the membership video. And so Julie has that teed up. After which I'd recommend approving membership in the Minnesota State High School League for our two high schools.
Hi, I'm Eric Martins, Executive Director here at the Minnesota State High School League, and thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. The Minnesota State High School League is a dynamic partnership of more than 600 schools, reaching all communities and corners of the state. Our mission is to provide educational opportunities in fine arts and athletics for all students. The 2023-24 school year was a great one for the league. As we look ahead to the upcoming school year, there are some exciting things that we are working on. You may not realize the league has operated as a 10th through 12th grade organization, but now the league is considering bringing all 9th grade participants and contests under the governance of the league. That would make us a 9th through 12th grade organization. This would allow all 9th grade participants valuable insurance coverage in the event of injury or a concussion. Welcoming 9th graders in this way would be a monumental change, and one that is overwhelmingly supported by our member schools. A change like this will require action from member schools. So look for more information coming from the league in the beginning of the 24-25 school year. To be fully engaged members of the league, our schools are required to commit to following all league rules. These rules have been collectively established and are critical to ensuring safe experiences, equitable opportunities, and fair play for our participants. That's why we continue to expand our efforts to share and inform all schools about the requirements and expectations so everyone can do their part. As educational models continue to change, we're seeing a number of newer schools, primarily online schools, in which our Minnesota students are now enrolling. This sometimes raises questions about students who are taking courses in more than one school. In response, we're re-examining our current practices related to participation and eligibility, and we're considering ways to most effectively provide opportunities for students to participate. We're pleased to report that the league continues in a strong financial position. Thanks to strong tournament attendance, supportive and collaborative partners and sponsors, wise investments, and fiscal responsibility. As a result, it's very likely that this coming year's membership fees, after credits, will be the lowest in nearly 30 years. As always, our top priority remains the same: to promote and support safe, respectful, and inclusive environments for participation and competition. We want all of our high schools to provide activities and events that focus on educating our students and are free from discrimination, harassment, and marginalization. Together We Make a Difference was designed to amplify the voices and advance the vision of our students to ensure respectful and safe schools and environments.
It's important to feel safe because within that you're able to perform the way you want to and you're able to give the results you want to. In my personal opinion, when I'm not comfortable, I'm not giving all I can.
It takes a team of dedicated adults like you to provide the kind of programming our students deserve. That's why the League and its schools are focused on recruiting, retaining, and supporting our coaches, officials, and administrators.
As an education-based activities director, there's nobody more important than the coach or advisor for our students, whether it's in the fine arts or athletics, because we know that each child is one caring adult away from changing their path of their life.
If you look at or listen to any successful person talk about how they got there, they never did it alone. There's always a mentor. And so we need those types of leaders in our schools today to help our young people understand what it means to be a strong, supportive person within their community.
Sometimes the most enduring lessons our students learn happen through activities beyond the classroom. So it's our goal to focus on enhancing the education of students through a broad range of opportunities that extend the traditional curriculum.
When alumni come and talk to me, the one thing I always hear is, they remember those big moments, but they also remember what led up to them. Everything that they've done to prepare and how those coaches and those experiences have helped prepare them.
At the Minnesota State High School League, it's about more than membership. It's about partnership. We have seen that when our member schools commit to common principles and expectations, we all experience the benefits that come from a shared responsibility to provide safe, respectful, and inclusive activities for all of our students.
To do our best for student athletes and participants, we need to be good partners to one another and collaborate with other schools and the Minnesota State High School League. Every single one of us has an important role to play in making sure that our students have the very best opportunities and experiences when they are participating in activities.
Nothing is more important than the well-being of our students, and participation in activities is a great way to enhance our students' overall health, both physically and mentally.
I think it's really, really important that every high school student finds something to be involved in. Finding some way to get involved in your school and in your community is so important. It not only positively benefits your mental health, but helps you improve as a person, helps you grow, helps you make connections with other people.
These activities have helped shape who I am because it makes me understand the importance of being in something, and it has helped me for the future because these activities help you gain skills such as time management and communication.
Giving students these valuable opportunities is the mission of the Minnesota State High School League. And looking around the state this year, we've seen high participation numbers, packed venues, and enthusiastic support from school communities. And together we have a bright future ahead. On behalf of the Minnesota State High School League, I thank everyone in all of our member schools for your continued active support, because it's about more than membership, it's about partnership.
Do we have a motion to approve the resolution for membership in the State High School League?
So moved.
Moved by Melissa,
Second.
second by Mindy. Discussion?
I appreciate the new video, and I appreciate some of the issues that they're raising. Like, these are real issues, like when kids are online, where do they go? So I just appreciate that at least they've been brought up and that we might not have a raise in fees. That's good.
Agreed. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution for membership is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the Bob Streeter baseball field and Grand Rapids Sports Complex lease agreement. Superintendent Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In your packet, you'll find the lease with the city for some facilities that we lease. And again, those are the baseball field, and then softball fields at the Grand Rapids Sports Complex, as well as some soccer practice fields there and some fields get used for other games when the turf's unavailable. You can see also the history in the report there where we've been. The scheduled increases about 3.5% of last year's rate, and other than that, there are really no changes, and I'd recommend approval.
We have a motion to approve the lease agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Ben,
Second.
second by David. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The lease agreement is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve bid awards for poster, scoreboard, field, and gym advertising to Steve Lynch. Superintendent Gross.
One of the things that came out of our budget reduction process or budget investigation process, I guess, improvement process this spring was to increase our fundraising dollars. In order to do that, we wanted to make sure that we were maximizing what we have now. We went out and we did an RFP to see if what was out there as far as that work. Some consistent things with advertising that we do around posters, scoreboard, gym advertising, that kind of thing. We got 2 responses, one from Steve Lynch, one from Rapids Radio. They were very competitive. We're recommending that Steve is awarded the 2-year agreement. He did have the lowest commission dollars or percentages, but we're also interested in talking to Rapids Radio, the other bidder, about some marketing opportunities that they presented that were unique and different. And I think, it could be sort of the best of both worlds there. So they're excited about that. We have a meeting scheduled with them later in the month. And so this will represent an increase in revenue for the district, and which is again part of trying to hang on to as many activities as we can, keep those opportunities for kids going without raising fees too much too. So I'd recommend the bid award.
So moved.
Moved by David,
Second.
second by Melissa. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you for the work on this.
Bids awarded to Steve Lynch. Next item on the agenda is to approve the sale of parcel number 10-023-3402 in Township of FE. Superintendent Gross.
The next 2 items on the agenda represent the sale of 2 parcels that the school district currently owns. That was one of the things that we've been working on, set as goals over the last couple of years to eliminate excess property. We don't have a lot. After the sale, if these are approved, the district will just own 2 other parcels, one in Warba. We solicited, and then the other one, the Houlihan property. We solicited the neighbors to the properties that were adjacent to these and entertained an offer in each case that was relevant or relative to the assessed value. And both of these represent the sale of these parcels to adjacent property owners. In one case, in letter I, that property actually will be returning to the original kind of homestead, if you will, that the people that originally owned that and this family in 1919, I think, gifted that to the district. And so it'll be returned to that family or their ancestors, I guess you could say. So I think that's neat, but not a lot of value in these properties for us, but it does get them back on the tax rolls, and we'll continue to pursue the sale of the 40-acre parcel by Warma. That's kind of the last big one that we've identified as one that we want to sell, and then obviously working to get the admin building sold as well. And it looks like there's some opportunities for that might come to fruition this summer.
Do we have a motion to approve the sale of the parcel in FE?
So moved.
Moved by Ben, second.
Second.
Second by Mindy. Discussion.
Have we had any other interest in these properties?
None. And they're both, they're very unique. The FE property is landlocked.
Yeah.
The S Lake property is really isolated as well, and doesn't have a lot of value other than the people adjacent to it. So that's why it's been difficult to sell these over time. I know this wasn't the first time it was attempted. And so it's great to be able to move on these now.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The FE parcel is approved. Do I have a motion to approve the parcel in S Lake?
So moved.
Moved by Mindy,
Second.
second by Melissa. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Parcel sale is approved. Next item on the agenda, Superintendent Gross, accept first reading of policy 412, expense reimbursement.
There were a few changes here that the policy review committee took a look at. One of them was shifting to a itemized reimbursement rather than a per diem. So you'll see that in there, and that applies to meals, things like that. So that moves from an allowances type system to a reimbursement type system. And obviously itemized receipts are necessary. The other change is moving the noon meal reimbursement from the employee being on assignment over 45 miles from his or her temporary permanent workstation from 15. Those are the two significant changes. This is the first reading. You'll see this again at our next meeting for approval.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to approve the 2024-25 Investor Early Services Agreement. Superintendent Gross.
This is basically the same agreement that we've had historically with Invest Early. The most significant change, or the substantive change really, is on page 4, and it's a change in times and days that care is offered. So you'll see in letter A there, there's no longer programming on Fridays. That's something that used to be offered through the Invest Early program, but with the reduction in funding, we moved away from that, crossed Invest Early, and families have made the adjustment to that. So that really is the only change in here, and I'm recommending approval.
I have a motion to approve the Invest Early Agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Ben, second.
Second.
Second by Melissa. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Invest Early Agreement has been approved. Board reports. Mindy, do you want to start?
Sure. Probably the most recent thing is I attended graduation at the Grand Rapids High School on Friday night, which is always kind of fun to see all the students come up there. I thought it was great. It was inside this year, but still, it's amazing. It gets done at 8 o'clock, just like clockwork. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Thank you, David.
Graduation of Big Fork. It was a beautiful experience, small class, but well represented.
I was there also. Yeah, it was a great graduation.
No report.
No report. Melissa?
Yeah, high school graduation, and then just a plug for the Tech Hub grand opening, which is June 18th. So for those, it's noon to 6, and it's kind of a new space with kind of cool technology for the kids and community, and so just a little plug for that.
Next item on the agenda, superintendent's report. Thank you. Something that I'm not sure we highlighted at the meeting, or have highlighted at this meeting yet, but we had something really unique happen with our FFA this year. We have 3 state officers from Grand Rapids High School. That's the first time in Minnesota history that that's happened. So Emma Grayford, Kaya Grossman, Tori Gunderson were elected statewide to the positions of Vice President, Secretary, and Sentinel. So that's just astounding. I mean, we've had many region officers before, we've had state officers before, but not 3 state officers at the same time. This is incredible, and just an amazing job. That's an incredible program. There's something for everyone there. It's kind of like the track and field of student activities. I think there's something for everybody there. So, and of course, Sean Leonard does a great job advising that group. Talked about graduations, always exciting. Sean hit on moving. Our staff worked really, really hard Thursday and Friday to get things moved. lots of boxes. We're staging those now. And so the next step in the process will be getting rooms cleaned as well as we can thoroughly where there's still some space. We have internal moving, and some people already started moving things. If they were moving downstairs to upstairs, they just got stuff up there. And but cleaning rooms deeply where we're able to, and everything should be out of the rooms. So the date we set was June 17th. I don't think that's going to be a problem based on what I saw the other day. And so then we'll take that period of time between June 17th and August 1st to clean, move. Staff will be notified as soon as they can get in there and do the unpacking. So I think so far things have went well, and we'll continue to stay in communication about that. It is really, a unique thing where we're resetting these buildings in a way. Half the staff, or approximately half the staff, are new in each spot. And so I think Sean did a good job of talking about how when those 2 new buildings were built, there were concerns about the size, the organization, things like that. Now, a few years later, people are really enjoying those, and all those concerns sort of were, they just kind of dissipated over time. And so I think we'll see the same thing happen as we work through this next phase in our organization and our history. We have a lot of staffing things that are still happening. You had some 6 or so hires tonight or changes. I believe we filled the music position at West. We have a couple other positions that we need to fill still, and so principals are working hard on those interviews and getting those staffing vacancies full. So that's important. I don't remember if I shared with the board, but we were awarded the Safe Routes to School grant for the middle school. We have our kickoff meeting this week. And so that's significant, over $400,000. And so we had to just pay for the engineering fees, and the rest of it will be covered by that grant. So now it's just a matter of getting that dialed in and doing it right. So yeah, it's going to be really great, a big improvement for sure. And the high school project was underway. I drove by today, and workers there on site getting things going there, and the air handlers are there on a semi-trailer and ready to get boomed up. And so there'll be a lot of work there, and that'll run right up to school starting again. We know those SummerSlam projects go, but that'll, again, improve that building quite a bit. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Reminder, upcoming school board committee and meeting dates are posted on each agenda. School board meeting agendas can be found on the district website and on the designated posting site at the ISD 318 Educational Services Center. Is there any other business to come before the board? Julie, has anyone signed up for public input?
They have not.
They have not. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.